It doesn't work when you're the government of the United States. Segregation and separation is the watchword. You put things into silos and purpose. You don't look at siloed information, compartmentalized information as a bad thing. You see it as a tenet of cybersecurity health. Your local IT person is going to tell you, don't put all of your data in one place. It could be lost. The hard drive or the cloud could be compromised and you will be lost. But to Donald Trump and DOGE, they're just getting all excited, all hopped up on combining databases. Well, I mean, there's already reporting that they were giving themselves high fives when they got into a database and they were able to dump it into this big database of their dreams, regardless of what it means for our cybersecurity. So here's how it works. China, which has upped its hacking activity, doesn't now have to search for how do I get into Social Security? How do I get into the Nuclear Regulatory Commission? How do I get into the FBI or the Department of Justice? How do I get into the CIA? Oh, there's no firewall? Oh, there's no virtual privacy network? Really? I have more security than DOGE is leaving us with, the way they're doing their combinations. And it is important to our national security. We've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Donald Trump is leaving this United States worse off, not better off, because of his actions and his activities. His economic policies undermine our national security. His domestic policies undermine our national security. The people that he's put in charge of the various departments that are dedicated to our national security make us unsafe. Tulsi Gabbard, as the head of 14 different intelligence agencies, makes us unsafe because she's unqualified for the job. Pete Hegseth, the Department of Defense, the head of the Pentagon, he's so unqualified that they put him effectively in a rubber room so he doesn't hurt himself. They've taken away all the support team that he hired himself, including his brother and his lawyer, and they're not letting him pick his own chief of staff. And that guy is responsible for working with Elon Musk to determine how to secure our database of Department of Defense and the Pentagon? You combine that, and of course Elon Musk, wholly unqualified, he could never get a top secret clearance to touch any of the things that he's doing unless Donald Trump, who has the power to do it, gave him that top secret clearance. There is no way he would ever get confirmed by the Senate in any of his dealings. And yet he was wielding at one point some of the most powerful set of tools that Donald Trump turned over to him. He just had a tool bag filled with sledgehammers. That's all that was in there. And this is the guy who's Mr. Tesla, who's going to be responsible for your and my national security? I mean, the White House, in response to a report by the Washington Post, said, we have some of the best and brightest minds in all of cybersecurity. I'm sure they'll be able to figure this out. That's Donald Trump's excuse every time he's challenged when something goes awry, like Mike Waltz, the national security advisor, using an unprotected, open, effectively, communications platform to talk about war plans. Where is he today? He failed up. He's now, you're in my UN ambassador. But he was the national security advisor till about 3 weeks ago. I'm Michael Popak, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popak Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popak Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states. States and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way. J.D. Vance, he's running around on some sort of whistle-stop tour in Europe. Everywhere he goes is death and destruction. Goes to India, war. Meets the Pope, dead. Yeah? Goes to Greenland, rebellion. I mean, again, these are the factors that go into undermining our national security. But this database, the big data thing, is important for us to get our hands on and understand. And there's going to be lawsuits that are going to be filed with federal courts about it. We had already 2 to 3 dozen lawsuits that have been filed against the Trump administration with injunctions in which people have argued that there's going to be an imminent data breach that this administration is going to be responsible for. You think your credit card information getting breached at Walmart or Target was bad? Wait till your driver's license, social security number, other key identifying personal information, your medical health, your medical records, your social security records, your benefits are all out there, right, to be purloined by our adversaries and used against us. Because you know who wants this database for their own database to undermine our national security? China, Russia, North Korea. And now with this reporting, they of course know that all of the barriers, right, have been removed. The drawbridge is down. The moat has been emptied of its water. And the kingdom is going to be under attack. We have enemies not at the gate. The enemies are inside the gate, being helped by Donald Trump. If I was Russia or China or North Korea, I would be putting all of my additional money into cybersecurity attacks on the United States and just aim for this giant database. With these tech bros running around under Elon Musk's supervision with insecure laptops, right? That's the Achilles heel. That's the weak link that they're going to aim for in the cyber attack. So you combine that with the lack of segregation and separation in data, and what do you have? Disaster. Disaster. Again, use this information to have that dialogue that you need, talking truth to each other first as we go into the streets for resistance. The 5501 movement, the movement in support of the rule of law, the veterans taking to the streets, others for reproductive rights and immigration rights taking to the streets, people getting arrested because they are defending our rule of law, including the mayor of Newark. These are the things, these are our profiles in courage, which help lead us. We're here together on the Midas Touch Network, not just to talk to each other, to educate each other, to arm each other for the resistance in terms of knowledge. I just met a lovely group of people over the weekend in Miami who were doing voter registration for the Democrats. I mean, it's nonpartisan, but it was the Democrats. And we talked about the need for voter registration and the arcane rules and the barriers to entry to suppress your vote that states are using. This is the time, well before the midterms, to go sort out your voter registration. And don't just believe I must have registered to vote. Just don't believe I must have handled mail-in voting properly. Your states, I assure you, your state, especially if you're in a red state, your state's voting rules have changed since you last registered. And you're now going to have to show a new piece of paper, a new ID, a new birth certificate, bring your grandmother, whatever it's going to be to register, whatever it is in your state. And I can't guide you on it, but there are organizations in your state, in your county, associated maybe with your party that can guide